Pamela Spence, medical herbalist here, and these are my clinic notes for the week. This is the second week that we've started to post these on Instagram as well as on my YouTube channel. So welcome people from Instagram if you haven't seen these before. So my kind of musings and roundup on the conversations that I've been having in my clinic this week with patients. So, okay, I've been thinking about this all week. If you're in the UK, some of my patients and also people watching I know are not. But if you're in the UK and if you're a woman in your 40s and 50s, you've probably saw the documentary last week by Davina McCall about, sort of lifting the lid on menopause for women. And I was extremely happy to see that it became very popular, that it was happening, because I would say that helping women through the years leading up to menopause and afterwards with hormonal balance and all kinds of issues surrounding it. A lot of them don't even realise some of the issues they're having are linked to menopause and hormonal changes, or even that they're in the process of it. It's probably about a good 2/3 of my clinic time is spent with this. So it's an area very, very dear to my heart. One of the things Davina did, which I thought was brilliant, was to start the conversation, because for many years it's been completely taboo. Nobody wanted to own up to it. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Women were not supported in work, and they could be going through significant health issues at the time. So this part is wonderful. But I have some problems with what the documentary said. So not knocking Davina for getting it out there and talking about it, that's wonderful. But I've been trying to figure out how to put my tuppence worth in. And a lot of medical herbalists in the background, we've been chatting to each other this week, and essentially we're pretty disappointed with what the outcome of the programme was. So for those of you who didn't see it, basically about the only alternative that you were presented with was that of HRT. Now, don't get me wrong, for some women, HRT works perfectly well. It is a choice, it is the way of choice for some women, and I'm very happy to support them in that. But for other women, they don't want to take synthetic hormones. They don't want to, or they can't. So maybe they have a family history of an estrogen-dependent cancer, which means it's not available to them. Or out of choice, maybe they just don't want to be putting those pharmaceuticals in their bodies. They want to know what else they can do. And also sometimes some women just really don't get on well with synthetic hormones. They have horrible mood swings. And, what I see in clinic is if it's happened to you with a pill or a patch or an implant or a Mirena coil, it's likely going to be similar. It's worth a try if that's what you want to do, but it often goes together. So the thing that really made me sad was that herbal medicine was dismissed to being, herbalists weren't even mentioned as an option, as highly trained, medically trained professionals who can help women and support them in a way that is similar maybe to seeing your GP, except we spend a lot more time together. Certainly our level of training in medicine and understanding of the medical sciences would be of a similar level. So I was really annoyed and disappointed that, yet again, herbalists didn't get a mention, even though there's plenty of us around and we're doing the work day in, day out, and we're getting good results for our patients. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be around doing it day in, day out. But also that the only thing they talked about was over-the-counter remedies. Now, if you've been around here a while, you'll know I'm not a great fan of pre-mixed over-the-counter remedies. And the reason is because you need to know not just what the remedy does chemically in your body, but also the constitutional type that it is best suited to. So your constitutional type is basically, where you sit on the hot, cold, moist, dry axis. Do you run hot? Do you run cold? Obviously, if you're going through menopause, you're likely to be running hotter than normal. Do you get wet things, snotty colds and chesty things, or do you tend to like dry skin, constipation, dry things? And the thing about knowing herbs in the way that a herbalist does, a medical herbalist does, is that we know that black cohosh, hops, sage, red clover, all those great herbs may look like they do similar things, but they work very differently in different constitutional types, in different types of bodies. And also, really importantly, they rarely do a brilliant job by themselves. We would always put them together with other herbs, and they work as a team, synergistically in a mix. So my first bugbear was to have herbal medicine dismissed as spurious when there are hundreds, if not thousands, of good quality studies showing that they make a difference. And to just talk about over-the-counter remedies, kind of a 2-minute, it's not great, don't waste your money kind of a moment, really annoyed me. But the second thing is the doctor, who was very good and I liked her very much. She said something which I suspect has probably been edited differently to how she may have said it in context. I come from a background of film and television, so I know how this works. I don't say people did it on purpose by any means, but she said that menopause is a state of ongoing hormone deficiency, and I absolutely disagree with that. So what it came across as she was saying was that you should have the same level of estrogen in your body right throughout your life. And that's just not true. So when you go through perimenopause, what is happening and the reason you're getting symptoms is because your estrogen levels are dropping and your body is getting used to a new and lower level of estrogen, and it will run on that lower level for the rest of your life because you don't need so much, because you're not in your fertile years. The estrogen levels are not then about trying to, conceive and be able to carry a baby, for example, right? So menopause is like a slide. You start with your hormone levels up here and they slide down to the new levels that you require in your postmenopausal life. Now that ride can be really bumpy, and what herbs are really good at doing is supporting your body through that transition and out the other side. And the other thing is that when you come out the other side and your ovaries stop producing estrogen, they've produced all the estrogen you needed for your whole life up to that point, and they're going to retire. And they will hand that job over to several sites in the body are involved in that job, but one of the key sites is your adrenal glands. If you've been here a while, you'll know that your adrenal glands are your stress hormone providers, if you like, and they get very tired if you've had a busy modern life. And so it's like the ovary department goes into retirement, hands over the job to the adrenals, and they just go, oh my gosh, I was only just coping as it was. And that's why some women end up with symptoms like anxiety, concentration issues, brain fog issues, all of those kind of things, feeling like, their confidence has dropped. They can't deal with, reverse parking suddenly, or driving into the centre of the city when they always did it no problem. That is why that's happening. And so what we do as herbalists is we support those adrenals and coax them forward and tell them they can do the job just fine. We support the liver function, which is often struggling a little bit. Not that it would show up in tests probably, but just it's under a bit of extra pressure at the time. That's the reason why you suddenly get a hangover after one glass of wine when you used to be able to down a bottle and feel great the next day. And we put in herbs with phytoestrogens, so plant estrogens that the body can use in the meantime, while the new sites that have this new job of creating estrogen get on top of their new task, right? So to say that you are in hormone deficit forever, you're not. You're just transitioning from high levels required to lower levels required. Now, estrogen does protect our bone density and our heart health, and that's important. And what that means is that we need to think a bit more about that going forward. But you do not want the same high levels of estrogen in your body as before. I've had so many emails, messages, texts, questions this week about it. What can I do to increase my estrogen levels? Well, you may not have to. You shouldn't. Your body should be able to do this on its own. What we are doing is getting you there. And the other thing with HRT, And I'm not knocking it because, like I said, it is the right choice for some women if their symptoms are really bad. The problem with keeping your levels up that high is for some women, when they stop the HRT, the menopausal symptoms come back, because guess what? In the meantime, those adrenals haven't been coaxed into producing the estrogen that they need for the rest of their life, and that piece of work still has to be done. You can do both things together. You absolutely can. But I do really feel it was a hugely missed opportunity to show women that there are other ways. And the other thing is, if women are having really difficult menopausal symptoms, I often suggest that they see an acupuncturist at the same time. And there was no suggestion that anything like that could be of any benefit. So I am hugely grateful that the conversation has opened up. I wasn't sure how I wanted to respond to it, because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and I don't want to be standing in my corner going, but what about me? But actually, for all the questions it's brought up this week, and all the women who, again, didn't know that there's other options for them, particularly the ones that can't take HRT, I am kind of jumping up and down and saying, yeah, but what about me and all the other medical herbalists out there? Gosh, that turned into a little bit of a rant, didn't it? If Davina's program touched you, I hope this has been helpful to you. If there's interest, I'm more than happy to talk more about menopausal stuff. Like I said, I do it day in, day out, and it so often crosses over with that feeling of increased stress and inability to stop or cope with life that can happen in your 40s and 50s. So reach out if you need help. And meanwhile, I hope that you're well where you are. And I will speak to you next week. Take care.